Bako is a seasoned writer, speaker, and personal branding consultant who has made his mark both locally and internationally. He has been featured on national TV, radio, and in newspapers as an expert on strategic positioning and presentation. His influence spans across continents, having spoken at renowned events such as the Toastmasters Southern African Conference, the 10th Annual International Auditors Conference, and the Ghana-based Code 57 platform. In Botswana, Bako has delivered insightful talks for private companies, government entities, parastatals, and NGOs, establishing himself as a go-to expert in personal branding. With 14 years of experience in the financial services industry, Bako also brings a wealth of knowledge as a qualified trainer, board member, and guest lecturer on corporate finance. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning. How are you doing? Are you great? Awesome stuff. So, back in primary school, which is quite a number of years ago, but let's not use years, I get it. Yeah, so let's say it's a while ago. It's a while ago. I remember when I first discovered magnets, and I was fascinated by magnets. The fact that this small black item can actually draw a metal towards it. That without any contact, a magnet can draw metal towards it. So I spent a lot of time playing with magnets on the fridge, at school, at home, everywhere. I was just obsessed with them. And the reason I bring this up is this, is that a brand, a well put together brand, business brand, is supposed to act like a magnet. So magnets draw metals, right? But they don't draw all types of metals. There are certain groups of metals that are not attracted by magnets. Similarly, in business branding, your brand will attract certain people, and then there's another group of people that it won't attract. And in putting together your brand, you need to understand that a powerful brand will draw people towards it, will draw its target market towards it. So today we'll be talking about how to make your brand magnetic, how to draw those target customers to yourself. And in you drawing those customers to yourself, we need to understand the elements of building a corporate brand. The first thing is to understand that a brand has a persona. And a persona is basically character traits. So by show of hands here, how many of us own or would like to own something by BK Proctor? Like to own either the socks or the cap or the expensive jacket, 5,000. So okay, a couple of us here. All right, so if I was to ask you to describe what comes to mind when you hear BK Proctor, collections by Proctor, what comes to mind? What word comes to mind? Expensive, okay, quality. Anyone else? Stylish, expensive, quality, okay, that's fine. And the reason I bring this up is that every brand needs to have a certain persona, and the reason is this, is that a brand will appeal to you because something about it appeals to what's inside of you. So we buy brands that align to our values, that align to the type of people that we are. So if you consider yourself someone that is stylish, someone that has a high sense of value, of worth as well, you want to buy something that appeals to that sense that you have. It's like why people that are wealthy buy expensive cars, because the brand of the car appeals to their own makeup and mindset. So we buy things because they appeal to our values and our character. And in you building your brand in business, you need to build it in such a way that it has a clearly defined personality. BK Proctor is one brand. If we look at another local brand, let's say Lotto, right? Lotto also has its own kind of sense. We could say it's also stylish, but it's more expressive, it's more creative, it's more artsy, it's very artsy, it's very mindful, So we see that different brands have their own traits, right? And the traits appeal to the people that buy those brands. So someone who would buy something by Lotto would tend to be someone who's very expressive, very creative, like an artist or someone who's very fashionable. It appeals to them because it appeals to the values that they have. So your brand needs to have that personality. And the personality is by design. So you need to say, what kind of personality do I want my brand to have? And for you to do that, you need to come up with what's called an avatar, right? So an avatar is basically a profile of your typical target client. So if I'm coming up with a product, before I start selling, my first thought needs to be, who do I want to sell to? Who are the people that I want to be buying this product from me? Then you come up with what's called an avatar or a profile. So these are demographics, basically. And these demographics would be the age group, the type of income status that those people would have, the kind of places where they hang out, the kind of music they listen to, the type of shows they like. Everything about your target customer needs to be profiled out so that you understand who you're trying to sell to. Then you set up a brand persona that appeals to those kind of people. So your persona needs to match their avatar. Otherwise, you are going to miss the mark and you're going to be frustrated, wondering, why aren't people buying my product? It's because the people that should be buying your product don't relate with the kind of brand that you have, with the kind of brand persona that you've built up. So that's the first thing, the persona and the avatar as well. So another element in setting up your brand is that you need to have a framework that guides the behavior of the brand. So because you are saying a brand needs to have character traits like a person does, right? So as people, what governs our actions and our behaviors? We are governed by our values, our beliefs. If you are a Christian, as an example, your behavior and your actions are guided by what you believe in the Word, what the Word says. So the values contained in the Bible are what guides you. So you act according to those values. If you belong to a different faith, similarly, you operate based on the values of that faith. So your brand needs to have a set of values that is built on. That's why if you go into any company in their building or maybe on their website, what you'll find is a set of values that they live by. You'll find trust and integrity and all those other things. And the importance of values is that they guide behaviors and actions. If you don't have any values, you act anyhow. But your values basically restrain you to act according to what you've set up for yourself as values. So your brand needs to have a list of values that it is set on. Trust, integrity, openness, kindness, whatever it is that you choose it to be, you need to have those set of 4 to 5 values. And the importance is this. Your brand values dictate where you advertise your brand, how you market your brand, who you partner with, the type of locations that your brand is found in. All of these things come from your values. If you are a corporate brand, then you live by corporate values. Therefore, there are certain partnerships that you wouldn't enter into because they don't appeal to corporate values. There are certain events that you wouldn't feature in because, again, they don't align to your values. There are certain influencers that you wouldn't use because their character doesn't appeal to the character of your brand. So everything falls back to what you've set as a framework for your brand. And this needs to be something that is done by design and intent. In the absence of values, your brand becomes very random. You just market anyhow, anywhere, just advertise in any way. And something that's very random is hard to follow, and it's hard to respect, and it's hard to understand as well. So having a set of values allows you to be very consistent in the type of language that you use on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on any site that you're on. Because you have values, you communicate in a certain way. You post certain kind of pictures. So everything is within the plan and is consistent. And as people, we recognize consistency. If I see something that is consistent, first I take interest. I notice, okay, what is it again? There's this page that keeps sharing these things. So I take interest. Then after interest, if it's consistent, I pay attention. Then from paying attention, I then move to acting. So it's interest. Then if it's interesting enough, if it's consistent, I'll pay attention. Once I pay attention, I then take action. And action can mean either buying, either liking the page, or telling someone about it, or whatever it is, but I take some kind of action. So you need to understand this flow of how to get someone's interest to then ultimately getting them to buy from you. So it's a flow, therefore flows follow structure. Then the third thing that you want to consider here is being authentic. How many of us here hate fake people? But by show of hands. Okay, anyone who's not raising their hands is fake. All right. So we all don't like fake people, right? Yeah. So even in branding, no one likes a fake brand. No one likes a brand that's trying to copy other brands. People want a brand that is consistent and that is authentic and genuine. So in you building your brand, try as much as possible not to copy what other people are doing, but try and come up with something original, something based on your own ideas and your own thoughts, so that you take pride in it. So build an authentic brand. All the promises that you make to your clients need to be authentic promises that you can actually keep. You know, when you buy something, they say, okay, this thing will do ABCD. Then you try it out, and it doesn't do ABCD. How do you feel about that? You feel cheated, you feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel like they've made you into a fool. And you want to avoid being a brand that does that. And to do that, you need to be authentic. If you make any promises about your brand, let them be genuine, authentic promises. If you say it can do something, let it do something. If you say it's something of high quality, let it be something of high quality. So don't just say things for the sake of just selling. Say things that you can actually prove and back up. So your brand needs to be authentic. Very, very important when it comes to corporate branding. So we've looked at corporate branding. We've looked at what it's about. We've looked at the elements of it. So I want us to take things a step further and now look at another side of branding, which is personal branding. So we looked at corporate. Now let's look at personal branding. What do you understand by personal branding? What comes to mind when someone says personal branding? What's the first thought that comes to mind? Anyone? Yeah, sure.
So, personal branding for me is basically how a person carries themselves amongst people, how they want to be perceived or how they want to be known.
Okay. Thank you for that. So it's about how a person carries themselves and how they want to be perceived and known. And that's it. That's what personal branding is. So in a nutshell, your personal brand is your reputation. Your reputation is your brand. A line that I like quoting says, your brand is what people say about you when they're not in the room. So if you are here and we are all friends and we are hanging out, What we say about you in your absence is your brand. That is what your personal brand is. It's your reputation, simply put. So what are the elements of your personal brand? It's basically how you carry yourself, in how you dress, in how you speak about yourself, and how you speak about other people. That's essentially it. So the way that you speak about yourself is a reflection of what you think of yourself. So do you elevate yourself? Do you bring yourself down? Whatever it is, that is your personal brand. And the importance of personal branding when it comes to business is that as a business person, you are the face of your brand, especially if you are new into business. If you are a small-time business owner, you are the face of the brand. You are the brand ambassador, basically, by default. You are the influencer of your own brand. And so when people buy from the company, they're actually buying from you. And what comes into play here is something called brand equity. Right? So if I know her and I respect her and I trust her as a person, and she comes to me and says, I'm running this new company, I'm selling these items, because of the trust and faith that I have in her and the respect as well, I trust whatever she's trying to sell to me, because I first trust her, then secondly, I trust what she's offering. And that's brand equity. It's you transferring your brand, your personal brand, into your corporate brand. If you know someone who is quite tricky, is not very trustworthy, is very deceptive, and they come to you and they say, I'm running a business and I want you to invest in it. Yeah, I'd like you to not invest. Because first you look at the person and you don't trust them. They're tricky and they have a bad track record. Now they want you to invest in their business. So you're likely to say no. And that's brand equity working negatively. So it can work positively or it can work negatively. It can work in your favor or work against you. And so in you building your corporate brand, you need to understand that your personal brand also matters a lot. Your brand equity matters a lot. People will buy from the company because of you, because of who is behind the company. So if you look at what V has done, V has a number of products out there. So which products do we know by V? Mavita. Anyone else? Lawful. Yeah. So V has a couple of products out there. And we buy these products because it's V. Because we like V, we love his music. We've known him for many years. And he has a positive brand. So because he has a positive brand, it's transferred into the products that he's selling. Because it's a product from V linked to V, we want to buy that product. And that's how brand equity works. So in you setting up your company, you cannot ignore your personal brand. You cannot post anyhow online because you're saying, yeah, this is just my account. It's my account, I say a company. That doesn't work. To us, you and the company are one. We don't separate the two. We see you, we see the company. We see the company, we see you. So the two are one. And so you need to be mindful of what you put out there online, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever it is. Your personal brand links back to your corporate brand. So the way that you treat people as well comes back to your corporate brand. So you are one entity in the eyes of your customers, which is why it's important to build up a positive personal brand. If we look at powerful brands like Elon Musk as an example, he has a company, right? We look at Bill Gates and the likes. They are very powerful personal brands which have a bigger following in their personal capacity than in their company capacity. So the person has a bigger following than the company. And because the person is so highly respected, people trust and like the company as well. You follow the person, then you follow the company afterwards. So your personal brand needs to be something that you are intentional about building. And the building of your brand is something that I cover extensively online on my channel. So just search my name on YouTube and you'll find my channel. I've covered how to build your personal brand extensively there. And to summarize what we've discussed, we've looked at your corporate brand, how your corporate brand needs to have a persona, a personality, and that personality will relate to the customers that you're looking for and will attract them to you, and that you need to have a set of values that your company is built upon. So the values will inform the behavior and actions of the brand. Then we've also looked at personal branding and how your personal brand equity gives value back to your corporate brand. And if not managed well, it takes value away from the brand, and how you need to manage your personal brand online. Your presence online matters a lot. People are watching all the time. So certain trends, let them skip you, let them skip you. Yeah, they're funny and everything, but this one time. So don't participate in every single thing that you're doing online. If you are serious about business, if you're serious about building a brand, there are certain things that you cannot post. So for me, my brand is largely focused on my brand as a person. And so what I share online, I need to think through it. I need to think twice before I post anything, to think, okay, is this adding value to my brand? Is it aligned to my values? What does it say in the eyes of my clients or in the eyes of people that I want to have as my clients? Then once I've thought that through, then I can post. So brand building is a very serious thing, and it needs sacrifice. It means that you won't post certain things. You can't be tagged in certain pictures. Our friends, but I tag, So sometimes you just need to untag yourself, because it's not the kind of image that you want to put out there. So it's a very serious thing, which is a full-time job, but the benefits of having a good personal brand is that you then get that brand equity and you get opportunities. Because of the brand that you've built, you get opportunities. And so at this point, I'll just open the floor to a couple of questions that you may have. So you may raise your hand if you want to ask something. Yes.
My question is, what advice would you give to someone who, let's say, made a mistake, ruined their personal brand, but wants to now get back into positive light? What steps can you give them to start putting in, taking action so that they can bring themselves from where they're viewed back to or even better?
Okay, so basically, what can you do to rebrand, in a sense? Yeah. Okay, so to rebrand, it's very possible. It just needs structure and a plan, right? If you look at Mark Zuckerberg, right? So the Mark Zuckerberg that we see today is different from the one from last year. Last year, he was very nerdy, very plain, and not so active. But the one was this year, black, gold chain and everything like that. He's at events and he's doing different things because he's trying to rebrand. So a rebrand is possible, but it needs to follow a structure, right? So if you're rebranding, you need to first decide, what kind of brand do I want to put out there? What kind of image do I want to put out there to the world? That's the first thing. And then two, how do you do that? You do it online and in person. That's the second thing. So that's the how. So then what you have to also understand is that it will take time for people to change from how they viewed you previously to how you want them to see you now. So branding is a lot like marketing. And marketing is about consistency. So when people see something consistently, they'll ultimately accept it as the gospel. They'll accept it as the truth. So if you are consistent in the brand that you're trying to build, people will ultimately buy into it. The issue is just being consistent and understanding that it will take time for people to buy into what you're now trying to sell out there. Yeah. Anyone else? We have a mic here, if you don't mind.
I have a question here. Yeah, I heard you talking about that. You said you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know the name of your YouTube channel.
Okay, it's just my name. So just search my name. Pako Mashach. It's on the program. So you just get a copy of the program. Just get the name and the spelling there. Thanks for that. All right. Anyone else with another question or a comment? I'm a consultant, by the way, so usually I charge. So please take advantage and ask me for free.
In fact, it scared me when you said that you need not post anything or on, say, social media. So the question this lady was asking was, how do you undo it? Because it's already there. We've already made personal images of ourselves. So it will take time. So, but how do you undo what you have already done, let's say on Facebook?
Okay. So maybe let's get a bit more detail, right? So I'll use myself as an example. So I got into public speaking about 6 years ago or so. And before that, I really wasn't into business. I wasn't into any kind of business, really. So I got into public speaking and personal branding as well. So what I had to do was that I had to clean up my social media profiles. I had to go through the pictures that I've posted and the ones that are not so in line with the values that I've set now, I just had to delete them. So I had to delete the old pictures on my profile that I felt were not a good picture of who I am now and of the type of brand that I want to put out there. So that's one thing that I had to do, is to clear the old pictures that I had. And then from there, I took a bit of a break, and then when I came back, I then came back as a new person that I am. So unfortunately, like I was saying, if it's done, it's done. The best you can do is damage control, right? So damage control at times needs you away from the scene for some time. I'm sure we've seen this public figures, right? When there's an issue or a scandal, they put out an apology, yes. They put out a statement. Then from there, they lie low for some time. So that people can forget, essentially, So it's the same even if you're not a public figure. If you lie low for some time, people actually forget and they focus on other things, giving you an opportunity to come back as a new person. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. I understand what you are saying. If you are building, whether it's a corporate brand or the personal brand, you are saying you need to be mindful of what you are posting. But people at times, they get interested with things that are maybe comic. You say this brand is always serious. People, they want for you to throw maybe some funny issues. So how do you balance the two there?
Yeah. So, okay. You can share jokes, right? But it's about the kind of joke that you're sharing. So obviously, we are social. We want to laugh, want to have fun and the like. So it's about this joke is funny, yes, but is it offensive to anyone? Would anyone be hurt by this kind of joke? Is it racist? Is it tribalistic? Is it something that is appropriate to share in a public platform, right? So a great example is the jokes that we see done by, done by Nando's, So Nando's is a great example of jokes that are funny to basically everyone because they don't try and target someone or make fun of a person or rather of a group of people, you see. So you want to aim for that kind of humor that is funny but is not in a way that is offensive or is trying to hurt other people. So it needs you to share, yes, but think through it, you know. So by all means, you definitely want to share something funny, of course. You want to appear to be someone that is actually human, and you're not AI, you know, as an example. Yeah. All right. I think maybe we can take the last question.
So, what are the effective ways to leverage personal branding to build trust with clients who only interact with my business online?
Okay. So if you only interact with people online, it's really to build trust in the way that you talk to them, right? So one, you want to be very professional with the language that you use. So when I talk to clients on LinkedIn, on email, or on WhatsApp, I use the same kind of language. It's always formal language across. So that formal language shows that you are a serious brand with integrity and you are consistent as well. So you want to avoid getting to a point where online you are like this, but over text you are now talking something else. So you want to build trust through showing that you are a brand that is serious and that has intent and takes itself seriously as well. So it's hard to build trust online, of course. So I'd say to do that is that you want to give your company a face, right? So you want to give a face. So as much as you talk online, ask clients that if you want to call, you can call. Here's the number, so that it's not just via text all the time. Because people that get scammed usually is because of companies that only sell online. There's no call, there's no number. It's just just texting. So to build that trust and to show that you are real and authentic, allow clients to call you or offer to even call them, especially after they buy, and say, okay, thank you for buying from our company. We're just giving this call as a courtesy. So that opens the line and makes them see that you are human and allows you to build that trust and that connection with them as well. Yeah. So I think with that said, if there are no further questions or comments, I'll hand back over to the MC. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Okay, thank you so much to our first speaker. Let's give him another round of applause.